Kama-freaking-Kura. I cannot believe we got Kamakura in G.I. Joe Classified. The reason why I am very excited is because I am a child of the early 2000s. Believe it or not, G.I. Joe fans exist that aren't in their 40s. Little joke aside, this right here, this is a carded sample, not my original childhood one, but this was one of my favorite G.I. Joe things growing up. The Spy Troops Kamakura vs. Night Creeper set. Kamakura has always been one of my favorite G.I. Joe characters. I just thought he was so cool, and I never thought we would see stuff from the Spy Troops era in G.I. Joe Classified. But here's Kamakura, and I can't be more happy. This figure is really great. It has met and exceeded my expectations. It is one of my favorite figures of the year, without a doubt. I mean, look at the pose he's in, and he's standing on one foot. It's pretty crazy. I do want to bring in, well, let's actually get him in a more proper pose. I do want to bring in the father mold. That's a funny phrase. Imagine people start calling him the father molds. I do want to bring in the original version of this mold. It's not all shared, but he does share some components with Storm Shadow. Mostly the torso. It's pretty much just the torso from what I can see. Everything else seems to be entirely new, even the legs. I'm pretty sure it's just the torso. There's a lot going on here. This piece is also shared with Kamakura. Yeah, it's a lot of nice new stuff here. New head, new look. It's looking really nice. I'm really a fan of it. So what does Kamakura come with? So this is how I keep mine by default, because this is what makes him look the most like Kamakura I knew and loved. But as you can see on the box here, which is pretty cool art, I'm not a fan of the fact that he doesn't have the mask on the art. He's got to have his mask, man. You can see he comes with a lot, and I'll show it in more detail. You get a couple swords, you get hood pieces, head pieces, guns. You get a pretty decent amount. All of the accessories are reused from other G.I. Joe figures, so it's nothing super special, nothing to write home about. You do have the swords, which are really cool looking. I do like this little holster on his back, and I do like the little serrated look to the sword. I think that looks pretty cool. And he holds this really nice as well. You do have the little tassel on his belt. You did have to put that on. It looks really good. I like how it lines up with the green. What else? You do have hood options if you do want him with a hood. Me personally, I mean, you saw my childhood Kamakura. He did not have a hood. So I'm personally not going to use this. But just to show you, you can give him the hood, pop it on. Most of the promo pictures had him with the hood, and I was like, I want to see him without the hood because I'm not going to have him with the hood. Looks all right. I still think, just like on Storm Shadow, looks a little baggy. You can see it has some give at the top. Not the biggest fan. Again, not going to use it. And you do have an optional hood piece where it's not up over his head. It's kind of like a collared hood. Kind of a pain to get that out. But yeah, you can see, you just put this around his neck. And perfect opportunity, let's just get the alternate head on. You do get the Sean Collins head, because Kamakura, that's not his real name. That's a city in Japan, if you didn't know. Yeah, this is a really good head. It is kind of difficult to get on there. I'm trying to get it, and it's fighting me. There we go. It doesn't pop on. It like presses on, but it's on there. It's a really good head sculpt. I really think that looks the part. I'm really happy with that. It's, again, not what I'm going to use, because I just, in my mind's eye for Kamakura, he has the balaclava on, but looks nice, you know? It's a very nice head. I can see people using it for, like, customs of, you know, maybe generic civilians. It might actually look like somebody, and they might use it as a figure of themselves instead of getting selfie series, and honestly, I wouldn't blame them. What else do we have? We do have a classic Kamakura little machine gun kind of Uzi thing. I'm sorry, I don't know guns. But you can see, bringing out the original, this is a very similar weapon to what the original did have. The original did also have a knife, nunchucks, which unfortunately are not here, and a sword, obviously. So, me personally, I really like displaying him with his original accessories. You know, and give him this nice little knife. I do think some of these accessories are borrowed from the Snake Eyes movie figures, which is kind of cool that you get all these accessories, but it does mean he's got the deluxe price of over $30, and I don't really think Kamakura was a character that needed to be a deluxe. Honestly, he could have just come with this, and I would have been happy. He didn't need anything else other than what you see here. But I'm at least happy that we got this, you know? I really do appreciate that. You do have this long weapon that I do believe came from Makiko in the Snake Eyes movie line. It looks really cool. I like posing him with this too. I mean, he had it at the start of the video. And it's a kind of weapon that splits into two, and you do have the split version as well, and he actually looks really cool with those. Again, I'm not sure if I'm really going to use him too often. This will probably be like his default on the shelf loadout. He'll probably just have this, because I'm pretty happy with that. And you do get a little pistol too, which is nice. You know, nice little inclusion to get a little pistol. So that's all of his accessories. You get a fair bit. I don't feel like you get enough to really justify the deluxe price. I feel like they shouldn't have made him a deluxe. I have no idea why. And he's Amazon exclusive too. I'm happy he exists, man. I'm happy he's out there. I'm happy, very happy that I have this. But, you know, it was expensive. Let's go over that articulation, though. So he does, like I said, retain a lot of storm shadowness, but I feel like the joints are kind of a little nicer on him. He does have really tight shoulders, though, which is kind of unfortunate. It's kind of not fun to pose his shoulders around, because look at his bicep. The plastic itself, especially going down, look at how it flexes before it actually goes down. That's kind of unfortunate. You do have a nice butterfly, though, which does allow you some pretty good, you know, forward shooting poses. I think that looks pretty nice. Sorry if it kind of seems like I'm struggling to get it in frame. I'm trying this out on my phone's camera, seeing how that works out, because I figured not a lot of people are going to watch this. Let's just film it on my phone, see how it goes. Just test it out. But I love the armor. New pieces for the forearms and for the legs, and I feel like this really captures the look of the armor on the original figure. It doesn't have the black bordering. That's something I might paint on myself, but I think it kind of looks cool without it. I'm just really happy they retained that armored look. This is my favorite iteration of Kamakura, and I'm happy this is the one they decided to base the figure on. Bringing it back, though, I do kind of miss the highlights of like the reddish orange along the bright green and on the arms. I do kind of miss that, but in my mind's eye, this is Kamakura. He does have a nice ab crunch. He does have a bit of a ball joint at the waist as well. He has really nice drop downs at the hips. That's how I was able to get him doing that high kick. Thigh swivel, very nice fluid, pinless double knee. Boot, ankle, doing all that. I didn't fully finish the arms though. Elbows bend like that. And I do have to complain about the wrists just a little bit. The hinge, there's not much of a cut. That's pretty much all you're getting for the wrist. It's kind of a disappointment. But I do have to say, and I say this with every single G.I. Joe Classified video, every single one, is this my favorite G.I. Joe Classified figure? For most of the others, I can say, man, they're so cool, I really like them, but I can't pick a favorite. But Kamakura is a character that is so near and dear to my heart. The fact that this 6-inch G.I. Joe Classified figure exists, I am going to say this is my favorite Classified figure. It's my favorite. Is it the best? Perhaps. It's perhaps the best that I have. I don't have many. I only collect my absolute favorite characters. So I'm very happy that we got Kamakura. All we need is wide scope. I don't know if that'll happen, but if we get a wide scope, then I will have all 5 of my favorite G.I. Joe characters. Because they've got Snake Eyes, Beachhead, Dusty's coming out, Kamakura now. Just need wide scope, and we're all set. Man, this Kamakura is so nice. I love it so much. Here, let's see if I can get him in like a cool, like, shooting knife pose. Look at that. It's probably not how you would want to shoot a gun like that, but hey, that's how he's doing it. Alrighty, guys, there we go. There's Kamakura. He's got all of his accessories everywhere. He's kind of a slob today. He's so nice. I honestly, genuinely, really recommend him. Especially if you're like me, if you're a G.I. Joe fan from the early 2000s that grew up with Spy Troops and Valor vs. Venom. This figure rocks. I know he also has a presence in the comics, which is super cool. That's probably where a lot of the older fans might recognize him, because I've noticed a lot of retro G.I. Joe collectors totally ignore and do not like this era of G.I. Joe. In some ways, I can't blame them, but in other ways, man, this was my G.I. Joe. This was mine. You know, you had your vintage, I had my Spy Troops and Valor vs. Venom. So, hey, whenever you walk past the toy aisle and see something silly and you're like, man, it was so much better when I was a kid, just keep in mind, give it, 15, 20 years. There's going to be someone coming around saying that was mine. That's what I grew up with. Because we're reaching a point where, like, you know, kids are gonna grow up and they're gonna say the sequel trilogy of Star Wars is what got them into Star Wars. That's gonna happen, and it's gonna be kind of wild. But hey, I just think we all need to appreciate every aspect of a franchise. Even if we don't truly personally appreciate it, we need to appreciate the fact that someone appreciates it. You know, and I'm really happy to see a character like this made. Some people, when this figure was announced, they were like, why are they making Kamakura? Why him? You know, they should be making this and this and this and this and this before Kamakura. But this figure, to me, is one of the top figures of the year. This means so much to me. The fact that we got Kamakura, a childhood favorite. Seriously, this Kamakura action figure, like, I have my original, I still do, but I love just having it in the package. You know, just seeing this and thinking back to when I originally got it. That figure means so much to me. Some of my first memories in life were trying to repaint it into a blue Kamakura because I loved him so much. I had a second, and I wanted to make him blue instead of green, have him like a different version. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old when I was doing that. So yeah, man, I love Kamakura. And even though some G.I. Joe collectors may be like, man, why'd we get him? What a waste of a slot. It was an Amazon exclusive. It's not in the main line. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Like I said, appreciate the fact that someone else will appreciate it. Not everything's for you. G.I. Joe is so much more than Real American Hero and being exact to the Sunbow cartoon. You know, maybe people really like the DIC animation. And, you know, maybe the Battle Armor Cobra Commander will come out and people go crazy for it. I mean, I'd consider buying that. That's really cool. You know, there's more to G.I. Joe than just Sunbow. I'd love to see classified figures based off the original 12-inch G.I. Joe. I'd love to see that. Creo made a little homage to it. I'd love to see a 12-inch one. That'd be so neat. Alrighty, I've rambled on long enough. This figure just means so much to me, man. I'm so happy it exists. If you like it, go get it. It's amazing. You will not regret it. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to the patrons of Patreon, as always, for the continued support. I genuinely appreciate it. Also, let me know what you thought of this camera. I'm probably not going to film every single video on it, but I might end up making it like a secondary camera when I am filming videos. Just let me know what you think of the quality. I figured this figure and, you know, this video, since it's not going to be one that is going to get a lot of views, honestly, it's not. Figured I would use this camera to test it out. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.